Welcome to the Deep Thought Podcast, where we like to take a whole bunch of research and pull out the most important stuff just for you.
Sounds like fun.
And today we're talking about Stoicism
A philosophy all about dealing with life's ups and downs.
and finding a little more inner peace, which I think everybody could use a little bit more of these days.
Totally agree.
So we're going to be breaking down 10 key principles from Epictetus.
He was a famous Stoic philosopher.
Yeah, and we found this really insightful YouTube series called Stoic Journal that really kind of sums it all up nicely. So
I'm excited to dive in.
yeah, so let's jump right in. So the first principle is about having a firm purpose in life as an anchor.
Like a compass to guide you through all the storms of life.
Yeah, if you don't have that clear sense of direction, you're just getting tossed around by every wave.
Totally. And Epictetus actually said this. Difficulties show a person's character.
Ooh, I like that.
And the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it.
Oh, that's good.
So having a firm purpose gives you that resilience to not just get through tough times, but actually to grow from them.
You know, it makes me think about Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor.
Oh, wow.
And he wrote Man's Search for Meaning.
Yeah, I've heard of that book.
And he talks about how even in the most horrific circumstances, finding meaning and purpose was essential for survival.
That's a powerful example.
It shows that even when you can't control your external circumstances,
Which is most of the time, let's be honest.
right? Like having that internal compass can make all the difference.
So it's not just about setting goals, but about connecting those goals to your deepest values.
You know, what do I truly stand for?
Exactly. What is my unique contribution to the world?
And it's about aligning your actions with your values even when things get tough.
Because they will.
Yes, they will.
They...
The next one is guarding your mind. And that sounds kind of scary to me.
Yeah, it does sound a little intimidating, but I think the key is to understand that it's not about suppressing your emotions.
Right. Or becoming like some kind of
Yeah.
robot.
No, it's more about developing mental discipline, becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions, and choosing how you react to them.
Instead of just letting your emotions rule you.
Yeah, there's this great analogy in Stoic Journal about a baker who finds true freedom by being completely absorbed in their craft, not swayed by whether they're praised or criticized.
Interesting.
They're just focused on their own internal standards of excellence, not external validation.
It's like they're in the zone, right?
Exactly. They're in flow.
Flow, yeah.
So it's about finding that inner peace by focusing on what you can control, your effort, your actions, your attitude, and letting go of what you can't.
Oh, that's good. Letting go of what you can't.
Right. Because that's where a lot of suffering comes from, trying to control things that are outside of our control.
Totally. And it makes me think about mindfulness practices like meditation.
Yeah, it's about observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment, becoming the observer, rather than getting swept away by every passing thought.
So you're not your thoughts, you're just observing them.
Exactly. It's about creating that mental space between a stimulus and your response, allowing you to choose a reaction that aligns with your values, rather than just reacting impulsively.
Oh, I like that. Okay, on to handling criticism.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah, especially in today's world of social media and you're getting feedback from every direction.
Right, everyone has an opinion.
And Epictetus taught that we can't control what other people think or say about us.
We can't, but we can control our reaction.
Ooh, that's where our power lies.
Exactly.
It's like the old saying, what other people think of me is none of my business.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
It's easier said than done, of course, but it's a powerful reminder that our self-worth doesn't depend on other people's opinions.
Right, it comes from within.
And Stoic Journal actually gives the example of saints and ascetics
Oh, wow, okay.
who endured intense criticism but stayed focused on their path.
Yeah, they had a purpose, they had a mission,
They did.
and they weren't going to let anybody's opinions stop them.
And they realized that other people's judgments were often just projections of their own insecurities or biases.
Yeah.
And they didn't allow those judgments to derail them.
It reminds me of how Nelson Mandela stayed committed to his vision of a free South Africa, even when he was imprisoned and demonized by many.
Powerful example.
He held on to his inner compass, even when the outside world was incredibly hostile.
It takes tremendous courage and self-awareness to stay true to yourself in the face of all of that criticism. But that's where true freedom lies.
Yeah, I love that.
Freedom from other people's opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
So the next principle is transforming offense.
Ooh, that sounds like a superpower.
It kind of is.
The ability to turn a negative experience into an opportunity to grow.
It's about recognizing that it's not the offense itself that hurts us, but our reaction to it.
It's how we choose to see it.
As Epictetus said, it's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things.
So it's about changing our perspective.
Exactly. Instead of seeing an insult as a personal attack, we can choose to see it as a reflection of the other person's state of mind.
Or maybe even a misguided attempt at connection.
That's a good way to look at it, yeah. Stoic Journal suggests using something called cognitive reframing, which basically means looking at a situation from different angles.
Ooh, I like that. Different perspectives.
Yeah, ask yourself, what can I learn from this?
How can this help me grow?
Exactly. How can I use this experience to become more patient, more understanding, more compassionate?
This reminds me of Abraham Lincoln, who was known for his ability to forgive his enemies.
Yeah, he was a very forgiving man.
And he famously said, "Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends?"
That's transforming offense in action. Instead of holding on to all that anger and resentment, Lincoln chose to see his opponents as potential allies.
And it worked. He was able to unite a deeply divided nation.
Amazing what forgiveness can do.
It is. Okay, up next, overcoming fear and shame.
Oh boy, two of the big ones.
These are two heavy hitters that can really hold us back in life.
They can. So when it comes to fear, Stoicism encourages us to analyze it rationally.
Break it down.
Yeah, break it down and see what's in our control and what's not.
Okay.
And the Stoic Journal uses public speaking as an example.
Oh, I can relate to that. Public speaking used to terrify me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the idea of being judged and potentially humiliated was just paralyzing.
I get that.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, what are you actually afraid of?
Good point.
You can't control how the audience reacts.
Right, you can't control what they're thinking.
All you can control is your preparation, your message, and your delivery.
That actually is empowering because it means you can focus on the things you can influence
Exactly.
rather than worrying about the things you can't.
Let go of that worry.
Right, yeah.
Shame, that's a bit different.
How so?
It often stems from past mistakes or societal expectations that we haven't lived up to.
Yeah, it can feel like we're not good enough.
Right, and Stoicism encourages us to confront shame with courage and self-compassion.
So it's not about beating ourselves up about the past, but about accepting it and learning from it.
Exactly, it's about being kind to ourselves.
Because we all make mistakes.
We do.
We're all a work in progress.
Constantly learning and growing, and that's okay.
Okay, next up we have anticipating obstacles.
This sounds a bit like expecting the worst.
It does, but I have a feeling there's more to it than that.
You're right. It's not about being pessimistic.
Okay.
It's about being prepared mentally and emotionally for those challenges that are just inevitable parts of life.
So it's like that saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Exactly.
You don't want to expect bad things to happen, but it's good to have a plan if they do.
It's about having a backup plan.
Yeah?
Stoic Journal calls this premeditatio malorum.
What does that mean?
It's Latin for premeditation of evils.
Interesting.
So it's about taking some time to visualize potential obstacles and consider how you would respond to them.
Okay, so for example, if I have a big presentation coming up,
Yeah.
I might think about what could go wrong.
Like the technology fails.
Right. Or I get a question that I don't know the answer to.
Exactly. And by mentally rehearsing these scenarios, you reduce the fear of the unknown.
And increase your confidence in handling whatever comes up.
You got it.
So it's not about dwelling on the negative, but about building those mental muscles to face anything.
Building up that resilience.
Okay, so this next one, cultivating inner strength, that feels like the heart of Stoicism.
It really is. It's about recognizing that true strength lies not in our ability to control external circumstances,
Right, because we can't control everything.
but in our ability to choose our response to them.
Like that famous quote, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters.
Epictetus.
That's the essence of inner strength.
And it ties back to all the other principles we've talked about. Guarding your mind, handling criticism, transforming offense, overcoming fear and shame. All of that contributes to building inner strength.
So it's about becoming aware of our thoughts and emotions, choosing our responses carefully, and developing the resilience to bounce back from setbacks.
Exactly.
It's about recognizing that true freedom comes from mastering ourselves, not our external circumstances.
You got it.
Right. And then there's restraining actions.
Okay.
Does that mean we should just sit back and do nothing?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's about acting with intention and reason rather than being driven by impulse or emotion.
So taking that pause That moment to breathe
Exactly.
and reflect before reacting.
Stoic journal uses the example of driving in heavy traffic.
Ooh, yeah, that can be stressful.
And somebody cuts you off, your first instinct might be anger, road rage.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
But Stoicism encourages you to take a breath, remind yourself that you can't control the other driver's actions, and choose a calmer, more rational response.
Yeah, just let it go.
Exactly.
Maybe just politely signal for them to merge.
You'd be the bigger person. So it's about recognizing our actions have consequences not just for ourselves, but for other people.
Right.
And by choosing to respond with reason rather than impulse, we can create a more peaceful and harmonious environment for everyone.
I love that.
It's about being mindful of our actions and making choices that align with our values, even in those really tough situations.
Okay. Embracing acceptance. Does this mean we have to accept everything that happens to us?
It's not about passively accepting everything, but about recognizing that resistance often creates more suffering.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's about accepting what is in way so you can then focus your energy on what you can control.
So if you lose your job, for example,
Yeah, that's a tough one.
you're going to feel disappointed, maybe
Right.
even angry.
Naturally.
But dwelling on those feelings won't change the situation.
It won't. Stoic journal suggests that acceptance is the first step toward effective action.
So instead of dwelling on the loss, you can focus on what you can do to move forward.
Exactly. So you can update your resume network, explore new opportunities.
So it's not about giving up, but about channeling your energy where it can make a difference.
Right. There's power in acceptance. It allows you to let go of the things you can't control and focus on what you can.
Okay, and finally, living according to nature. What does this mean in the context of Stoicism?
It's about aligning ourselves with the natural order of the universe,
Oh, okay.
recognizing that we're a part of something bigger than ourselves.
So understanding our place in the world and living in a way that's harmonious with nature.
And with our own true nature.
Yeah, so it's about recognizing that change is inevitable.
Just like the seasons change, we go through phases of growth, stability, decline, and renewal.
And by accepting these cycles.
You can navigate life's transitions with more ease and grace.
So embracing the ebb and flow of life, knowing that there will be ups and downs and finding peace in the midst of it all.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it's about living in accordance with our values and our purpose.
Right, recognizing our interconnectedness with others and contributing to the well-being of our community.
So much to unpack. We've covered 10 principles that offer such a rich perspective on life.
It's amazing how these teachings developed centuries ago can still be so relevant and practical today.
Timeless wisdom.
It is timeless wisdom. So now we're going to take a little break.
Take a breather.
And when we come back, we'll delve into how these Stoic principles can actually be applied in everyday life.
The practical side.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Welcome back to the Deep Thought Podcast.
So we just explored 10 profound Stoic principles from Epictetus.
And now it's time to see how they can be applied in everyday life.
Yes, the practical side of things. So what does this all mean for our listeners?
Well, one thing that really stands out to me is this emphasis on self-control.
Yeah.
Whether it's guarding your mind from external influences or handling criticism with grace,
Or restraining actions based on impulse?
Stoicism really highlights the power of our choices.
Yeah, it feels like a recurring theme throughout all of these principles, right?
It is.
Like we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we react.
And that's so empowering.
It is incredibly empowering.
It ties into that idea of transforming offense.
Yes.
Instead of being a victim of our circumstances, we can choose to see difficult situations as opportunities.
Opportunities to grow.
To practice patience and empathy.
Yeah, it's a real shift in perspective.
It is a shift in perspective.
It's like that saying, life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it.
Yeah, I love that one.
And Stoicism gives us the tools to really take charge of that 90%.
It does.
Yeah. And then there's overcoming fear and shame.
Ooh, big ones.
Yeah, those emotions can be so debilitating.
They can really hold us back.
But Stoicism offers a way to confront them with courage and self-compassion.
It does.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that we create those emotions within ourselves
Right.
by challenging our interpretations, practicing self-forgiveness,
Yeah.
and gradually exposing ourselves to what we fear.
Taking those baby steps.
We can reclaim our power.
It's like building mental muscle.
Oh, I like that.
The more we practice these principles, the stronger and more resilient we become.
Yeah. Speaking of mental muscle, let's talk about anticipating obstacles.
Okay.
It's not about being pessimistic, right?
No.
It's about being prepared.
It is about being prepared, mentally and emotionally, for those challenges that are an inevitable part of life.
So it's like having a mental fire drill.
I like that.
You don't expect your house to burn down,
Right.
but you practice what you would do if it did.
That way, if a fire does break out, you're not paralyzed by panic.
Exactly.
That's a great analogy.
And it ties into cultivating inner strength,
It does.
right? It's about recognizing that true strength lies within us,
Within us.
in our ability to choose our responses, to practice forgiveness, and to find resilience in the face of adversity.
It's about developing that unshakable core, that sense of peace that can't be disturbed by external events.
Ooh, that's nice.
It is nice.
And embracing acceptance is a big part of that.
It is.
Right? It's not about giving up.
It's about recognizing that resistance only creates more suffering.
Well, that's a good point.
By accepting what is to do, we free up our energy to focus on what we can control and to find opportunities for growth, even in challenging situations.
It's like the serenity prayer.
I was just thinking that.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
Courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference.
Stoicism embodies that wisdom.
It really does.
Okay, and then there's living according to nature.
It feels like a call to authenticity and purpose.
It does.
Aligning ourselves with our true nature, living in accordance with our values, and finding harmony within ourselves and with the world around us.
Embracing simplicity.
Yes.
Practicing gratitude.
And recognizing our interconnectedness with all things.
So how can our listeners start incorporating these principles into their daily lives?
That's a good question. It's all great in theory.
But where do they begin?
Well, one of the most powerful things you can do is to start practicing mindfulness.
Okay, what does that mean?
It simply means paying attention to your thoughts and emotions without judgment.
So just noticing them.
It's about becoming aware of your patterns, your triggers, your habitual reactions.
It's like hitting the pause button on autopilot.
Yes. And becoming more aware of what's going on inside your own mind.
Yeah.
And once you're more aware, you can start making conscious choices about how you respond to situations.
So instead of reacting impulsively, you take a moment to breathe, reflect, and then choose a response that aligns with your values.
Exactly.
So you become the master of your emotions.
Yes, instead of letting your emotions control you.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's not about being perfect.
Right.
We're all going to have moments where we react impulsively or get swept up in our emotions.
Yeah, for sure.
The key is to notice those moments, to learn from them, and keep practicing.
Progress, not perfection.
Exactly. Another practical thing you can do is incorporate some Stoic exercises into your daily routine.
Ooh, like what?
One of my favorites is negative visualization.
Negative visualization. Why would I want to imagine bad things happening?
It's not about dwelling on the negative,
Okay.
but about preparing yourself mentally and emotionally for challenges.
Okay, so by imagining potential setbacks, you reduce that fear of the unknown.
You do, and you develop resilience.
So it's kind of like that mental fire drill we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
Mentally preparing yourself for potential challenges so that if they do arise,
You're not caught off guard.
and it can actually help you appreciate what you have in the present moment.
It can.
When you think about the possibility of losing the things you value, you feel more grateful for them now.
You do. It's like that saying, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
But instead of waiting until something's gone,
Yeah.
you're consciously appreciating it now.
Exactly. Another Stoic exercise I recommend is journaling.
Okay.
Taking some time to reflect on your experiences, your thoughts, your emotions can be so helpful.
Journaling could be a great way to process things, to gain insights.
And to track your progress. You can use your journal to write about challenges you're facing, how you're responding to them, and what you're learning along the way. It's like having a conversation with yourself.
Making sense of your experiences
Exactly. And sometimes just getting your thoughts and feelings out on paper
can help you release them.
and move forward.
And one more practical tip is to focus on what's within your control.
Yes, that's a core principle of Stoicism.
And it's incredibly liberating.
It is liberating.
It's so easy to get caught up in worrying about things we can't control.
The weather, the traffic, other people's opinions.
That stuff.
But Stoicism reminds us to focus our energy on what we can influence.
So instead of stressing about things you can't change.
Focus on your own actions, your attitudes, your responses.
Right.
This shift in focus can really reduce stress and anxiety.
Yeah, it's about taking responsibility for your own experience. Recognizing that while you can't control everything that happens to you,
You can control how you respond.
And that ties back into the idea of cultivating inner strength.
It does.
It's about finding that sense of peace and stability within yourself, regardless of what's going on around you.
Becoming the eye of the storm.
Calm and centered amidst the chaos.
That's beautiful. And it's a state that we can all cultivate through practice and dedication to these Stoic principles.
It's a journey, not a destination.
It is a journey worth taking.
I'm feeling inspired.
Me too.
These Stoic principles offer such a powerful perspective on life.
They do.
It's not about avoiding challenges.
No.
It's about navigating them with grace, resilience, and inner peace.
It's about finding meaning and purpose in our experiences, both good and bad.
And living a life that aligns with our values.
This deep thought has given me so much to reflect on.
So many practical tools to try.
I'm excited to see how incorporating these principles into my own life can lead to greater peace, fulfillment, and joy.
I think we all have the potential to benefit from the wisdom of Stoicism.
I agree.
It's a philosophy that has truly stood the test of time.
It's timeless, offering timeless guidance for living a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this journey into Stoicism
We hope you've gained some valuable insights.
and practical tools for living a more fulfilling life.
We encourage you to explore this philosophy further and see how it can transform your own experience of the world.
And be sure to check out the links in the episode description for more resources on Stoicism, including the Stoic Journal YouTube channel.
Which is where we drew our 10 principles from today.
We'd also love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, insights, and questions in the comments below.
And if you enjoyed this Deep Thought podcast,
Please subscribe.
and share it with your friends.
We have other podcasts available for your listening pleasure.
We're so grateful for your support, and we look forward to continuing this journey of exploration and discovery with you.
Until next time, stay curious, stay mindful, and keep seeking those deep thoughts.
And remember, as Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters.
Words to live by. Thanks again for listening.
Take care, everyone.
Welcome back to the Deep Thought Podcast. We spent this episode talking about Stoicism, and now it's time to wrap things up.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating look at this ancient philosophy.
So as we bring our deep thought on Stoicism to a close, what are some key takeaways?
Well, one of the most important takeaways for me is that focus on what you can control.
Yeah, that really resonated with me too.
It's so liberating when you let go of that need to control external events.
Or other people's opinions.
Exactly. It frees us from so much stress and anxiety.
It's about recognizing that while we can't always choose our circumstances,
We always have a choice in how we respond to them.
and that ties into taking responsibility for our own experience.
It does. We can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react, how we interpret those events, and how we choose to move forward.
So instead of feeling like a victim of circumstance,
You can become the architect of your own life.
I love that. And that leads us to another key takeaway, the importance of cultivating inner strength,
Yes, developing that unshakable core,
that sense of peace and stability that comes from within.
not from external validation or achievements.
It's like a tall oak tree standing firm amidst a raging storm.
Oh, I like that image.
Its strength comes from deep roots.
And the solid core,
And just like that tree, our inner strength comes from cultivating self-awareness
practicing mindfulness.
and aligning our actions with our values.
Stoicism gives us those tools to weather the inevitable storms of life.
To find that inner calm amidst the chaos.
As we cultivate that inner strength, we also begin to embrace acceptance.
Yeah.
We recognize that resisting reality just creates more suffering.
Right. Fighting against what is just makes things harder.
Exactly. By accepting the present moment with all of its imperfections, we free ourselves to focus on what we can control and find those opportunities for growth.
Even in the most challenging times.
It's about recognizing that challenges are inevitable,
They're part of life.
and they often present those opportunities for learning and growth.
Like they say, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor.
I like that. So acceptance isn't about giving up
It's about shifting your focus
from what you can't control,
to what you can.
and finally, living according to nature.
What does that mean in the context of Stoicism?
It means aligning ourselves with our true selves, living in accordance with our values, and finding harmony within ourselves and with the world around us.
So recognizing we're part of something larger than ourselves.
Yes.
Interconnected with all of life.
It encourages us to live with purpose,
With meaning.
contributing to the well-being of our community and the world.
It's about embracing simplicity, practicing gratitude, and recognizing the beauty and wonder that exists all around us.
even in the midst of difficulty.
Exactly. So as we conclude our deep thought into Stoicism,
I encourage you to reflect on these key takeaways.
focus on what you can control.
Take responsibility for your own experience.
Cultivate inner strength.
Embrace acceptance.
And live according to nature. Stoicism is not a passive philosophy,
It's a call to action.
an invitation to live a more intentional, fulfilling, and meaningful life.
And it's a journey.
A journey of continuous learning and growth.
There's always more to discover and explore within this rich and ancient philosophy.
We hope this episode has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to learn more about
And
Stoicism.
how it can enhance your life.
Be sure to check out the links below for more resources on Stoicism, including the Stoic Journal YouTube channel.
That was our inspiration for this episode.
And we would love to hear your thoughts.
Leave a comment below and tell us what resonated with you the most.
And if you enjoyed this Deep Thought podcast, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends.
We're so grateful for your support, and we look forward to exploring more fascinating topics with you.
In future episodes.
Until next time, stay curious
Stay mindful.
and keep seeking those deep thoughts.
Thanks for listening.
Take care, everyone.